All right, so welcome back for Book of Experts TV, and today we're talking about, so you want to be a video influencer, right? We're doing video here, although it seems like the whole world around us has gone video. We've got folks doing video podcasts, live streaming on social media, and more, maybe even connected TV. Maybe that would make sense for you. Guest today is going to be telling us all about her background and how she's helping other folks make that leap into becoming that video influencer that you might want to be as well.
Time for Book of Experts TV.
Topics you love.
Experts you trust.
Friction-free referrals.
Tried,
Tested,
Trusted.
This is Book of Experts, brought to you by salesman.me. So welcome, Debra K. I'm super excited to have you on. I've actually connected with you a few weeks ago. I was actually on one of your streams through Well World TV, which was fun, enjoyed that. And I've been geeking out about OTT and connected TVs and learning all that stuff and learning a bunch from you. So excited to actually have you here on Book of Experts as well.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Tobin. And, when I was looking for an expert, I found you. So it was no surprise that you had, work with a platform called Book of Experts because your contribution on LinkedIn, up-leveling your LinkedIn game was really important. And I got great feedback.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. My name quite often gets associated with LinkedIn. I don't tend to think of myself as a LinkedIn guru, just because the work that we do is multi-channel. We do the same thing on Facebook. I think you and I even connected on Facebook first, but LinkedIn's very hot right now. A lot of people are moving there, and I think the business conversation makes it very relevant for folks. And your space is exploding as well, like video and people wanting to not only the social side, but more. Like I just love, because you're bringing let's talk for a second about your background, because you do bring something to the table that most people will really appreciate.
Yeah, well, I think, it's funny because where I am now, you can take a reflection and look back at your life and you see those key critical moments that really change your trajectory on where you were going at that time, but where you're at now. And so my career really started with a strong corporate marketing type path. I was, climbing the corporate ladder. I was an expert in marketing at the time, which has totally changed now, and defining customer experience and just really high level work. But the cost to me was personally my health, and climbing that ladder had its costs. It had its benefits for sure, but it definitely had its costs. And so I face planted into the doctor's office, and instead of being asked about lifestyle choices and what was I doing for fitness and nutrition, it literally was handing me 5 prescriptions. And in that moment, I was in my early 40s at the time. I physically felt like I had been punched, because all I could imagine was all of the millions of people marching into the doctor's office with some minor complaints and then marching straight to the pharmacy. So I didn't know it at that time, but the seed for the passion was planted in that moment. And I went back to work, took a few years, but I knew right then that I wanted to contribute healthy and inspirational content to the world.
So this was before Well World TV, but it sounds like the seeds were being planted, and then you also had this whole background in, what is the right term for real TV, like broadcast level TV? I don't know. There's so many different cuts and levels of it now. But what do you call the real stuff?
Yeah, the real. So I almost view it as layers, so now there's layers, and the great news is in today's modern social digital world, everybody can create high quality content, and there's going to be a home for it. So now to me, the layers are, yes, traditional television, you're working with crews, producers, 5 videographers on set and lightings and scripts. All of that is still relevant, but it's definitely changing. The second tier is what I call over the top programming, and that's the OTT space. So now what's happening in tradition, when you have your smart television, people can go to Roku TV, their Apple TV, Fire TV, and search for content and find really good quality content there. And then the gateway tier is social media, like what we're doing right now. We have I'm on your TV show.
Yeah. So what we've been having fun with it. So we do, obviously we're live streaming now. Some folks will catch us live. We have a few folks with us already on multiple channels. We're on Facebook in a couple different places. It looks like our LinkedIn live stream broke, which does that tends to happen with that platform. They're a little bit harder to work with. So whether it's to a LinkedIn page or I oftentimes go through my profile, but that one broke today. But we're also on YouTube and Twitch TV. We podcast, we take the audio out for the podcast world, and obviously we keep the video for folks that want to pull a video when they're searching for different topics. Mm-hmm. I want to get nerdy with you for a second, just because I'm interested in this. What would you call the level that is, so OTT is over the top television, connected TVs, as you mentioned, smart TV. What about Netflix and Amazon and is that considered part of the OTT layer, or is there something in between that and traditional TV?
It's still part of that OTT realm, because the content is all housed somewhere and it's being searched and sought after by the viewer, versus traditional television, which is they still have programming and time slots and channels. And so, you go to your local NBC station, you get what you get, like whatever they're offering you. So when it's over the top, that means really it's being consumer driven by our interests and creates a whole realm of opportunities. So all of those non-traditional video warehouses, so to speak, are still considered non-traditional and over the top.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing is that, there were books, and then the ebook world came in, and self-publishing and has really disrupted that. Obviously, radio and podcasts,
absolutely,
social media, live streaming TV, and now there are, as you mentioned, there are different layers of this, but we're all becoming creators and consumers at the same time. And honestly, I think sometimes the creating is as much fun as the consuming. So.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you sort of giving us a lay of the land. Deborah, let's talk about the boot camp that you're running, because I think there's some folks out there that might want to know about how they can become a video influencer as well. And you've got a big promise there, and I'm really excited about hearing more about that. Yeah.
Well, when we look at the layers, so many of us might aspire to have a TV show on the Travel Channel or something like that, but the odds of a network discovering us, finding us, and, being able to have a show in that realm is very challenging. So Well World TV is like a low barrier network, in which I call it, we're uncovering hidden gems, providing them the tools and resources so that they can just begin that path of starting to get confident, polishing their skills, having the right content, and stepping up on a little bit bigger stage. Because ultimately, once you start creating video, even in this social realm, you are getting more confident. Your voice is getting stronger. You're like, okay, that content didn't work, but this content is working. So by the time you are discovered, literally, you've already discovered yourself. And so you're going to be standing in a position of strength to have some of those bigger conversations that might be coming your way. And so the boot camp is really a gateway training program that we developed to bring in people at all levels, whether you aspire to be on regular TV within that OTT space, or just to have your own social digital series on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, so that we can get everybody in, get them in the camp, and then walk them through the phases that I know are the most critical for their long-term success. Yes, and this is the landing page here. It's bootcamp.wellworld.tv. And once you're in boot camp, it goes for 4 weeks. We're meeting every Tuesday and Thursday starting June 23rd, and we'll have you for about an hour and a half each day. And you'll get to learn from Emmy-nominated professionals. We're going to use strategy in our content development, and there's 4 phases. So the first phase is really that helping you craft your purpose, your strategy, but already have a profit plan in place. This is critical. So this, you have to be clear on your message, your brand, who you are, the way that you're going to show up on your series. And also we're going to help guide that with keyword research tools and data. We're going to research your consumer segmentations so that you are delivering the message in the right way. So a perfect example of that, let's say I have a doctor who is passionate about Ayurveda, and some of the terms within Ayurveda are not being sought for through Google or through YouTube. But if you put in how to address gut inflammation or improve gut health, that is a term that likely will have your video discovered more organically and at a higher volume versus using their terms such as Pitta, Vata, and some of those other Ayurvedic terms. So we're just going to sharpen your focus and get you off on the right track. The second phase is what I call, it is important to sweat the small stuff. So we get so many questions about lighting and equipment and audio and what does my hair look like and what type of makeup should I wear? And so all of the minutia of the details as you get comfortable with setting up your space. So literally some people can just have their laptop, and as long as they have a good mic and some decent light, they're ready to roll. Some people might want to set up a little in-home studio, so we can help guide furniture, backdrops. If you have a green screen, you know, how to use apps that help you develop a look behind you so that regardless if it's in your home and it's very low budget, you're still upping your game and having a level of professionalism. And then once you move through that, we're into phase 3. And phase 3 is, ready or not, you're pushing the record button. And some of the hosts that we have onboarded literally have never been on camera before. So you don't have to have a level of experience to join us. We want to help you discover yourself and your talent. So in this phase, you will, first off, you'll record your first raw video based on the segments that we've provided you. And we will give you direct one-on-one coaching. So now we're going to tell you, you know, make sure you maintain eye contact with the viewer, which means you have to stare at that little green dot. Or, you know, your tone is off. Or when you're talking, you tend to up tilt every time you talk. You know, there's just little nuances like that that are important. And then you'll record 4 other videos. We will help you develop your thumbnails, your titles, your keywords, and do some light editing on the back end, because we want you to graduate with 5 ready to rock your platform videos that can transform your business and give you a tangible takeaway. And then in the final segment, we're going to touch on what you and I were talking about, is that current landscape of medium, because the exciting news for me, because I've done traditional television, it's expensive, it's time consuming, and getting picked up is nearly impossible. But right now in the world that we live in today, your content has a home. And so we're going to cover that entire landscape of where your content can be so that you can have greater impact and reach much more people with your message.
I really love this, what you said about, I think you called them raw gems or uncut gems that folks that have a message, it needs to get out into the world. That's very near and dear to our heart at Book of Experts as well, because it makes the world a better place. The world certainly needs it. There are a lot of folks with missions out there right now that will make a positive impact. So I love that you're doing that. Can you talk for a second about, okay, so first of all, thank you for sharing the Video Influencer Bootcamp, giving us the context of how other folks could join you on this mission. I know you also have felt this call, like you work with spas and a lot of these businesses that have been pretty heavily hit in the last several months because of the pandemic, having to close their doors. They're starting to come back now. What are you doing in that space, and how does Well World, because you have a passion project that is around that, correct?
Yes. So when I left my corporate job in 2007, I really went into the massage and spa world very heavily, and I became a consultant for wellness brands. And so I have literally thousands of contacts and connections within those two worlds. So when the pandemic hit, like literally I would wake up and my heart would be aching, because I knew that every spa in the world was closed. Every massage therapist was not able to practice. And so I knew that they were moving through a very painful and uncomfortable time. One of the partnerships I forged was with the Stephanie, who owns Caribbean Wellness and Education, and Sophia, who owns Papilia. She's all about diversity and travel and traveling to unique destinations. And so we forged a collaborative called Project Positive Planet, in which we wanted to keep people that were so severely impacted by the pandemic educated, inspired, and thinking about moving forward, which is why I was doing the social media series, because a lot of the archetypes in these industries they need business information because they go into school to take care of people to a certain extent. And they also need to understand a lot of the business principles. So everything that's embedded at Well World TV, regardless of whether you're an acupuncturist, a chiropractor, a massage therapist, part of my DNA that will be embedded in the organization is I want to give you the tools and resources to have a thriving business, as well as share your message. So if I can provide you that resource and you're not worried about your finances or money, I know your message will come through more brilliantly because you're able to let that go. So that will definitely be part of who we are and what we do.
I love that because I have a bias in this area, but entrepreneurs are going to be the ones who change the world. It's not going to happen at these sort of global and governmental levels. There's too many challenges there that are being sorted out. But you've got movers and shakers with their boots on the ground who are building businesses, and as they thrive, the communities around them thrive. So I'm just a big believer that the entrepreneurs are I consider it the hero's journey. They're out there changing the world. I love the folks that we've been gathering at Book of Experts. Again, it's a whole diversity of folks like yourself who bring this background, this skill set and expertise to the table, but also they're connected to their passion, their strong why of what they're doing. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful world to play in.
That's why like attracts like. So every time I meet somebody like you, and then I can see the bigger picture of the dream and vision that you and your team are putting together. It's just, it's no surprise. And even the people you've connected me to, like Deborah, I really think you need to meet so-and-so. As soon as I connect with that person, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it warms my heart because I know a couple of the folks that you've met. They're actually going to be working with you in the boot camp that's coming up.
Yes. One of them, two of them, Scott and Stephanie, are going to talk about Instagram in particular and how to grow a social following using your content and video. And Marnie just onboarded yesterday, and she's going to join us early in boot camp because she's an expert at the clarity, getting clear, setting goals, and starting to map that path strategically. So keep sending them, Tobin.
Sounds good. Well, that is something that I really enjoy doing, which is connecting people. I think it's a role that we're trying to play. Some people just have that interest, and for me, it feels like play. But the Book of Experts is really the tool set or the ecosystem that makes those connections happen more easily. So we're very focused around, meeting people first, what's going on in their world, and then what do they need next. And in this case, it was you. It was folks that are coming into the business. So remind me again. I'm going to go back. I want to show that deadline because I know that's coming right up here. So let's bring this on the screen so folks can see June 23rd. So it's coming right up. People need to get ready. What are the next steps for folks who might want to join you in the boot camp?
So literally, the website is bootcamp.wellworld.tv. I will go back and drop this in the comments just so it'll pull up the link. And then we have created a code for the Book of Experts. So when they're registering, if they check it out and they like it, they'll save $100 when they enter the code BOE for Book of Experts. Just enter that code. It'll take $100 right off the fee. And we already have 7 to 8 students. I'm looking for 10. So I think it'll be a very good, broad, diverse group of people of all ages, all everything. And it's just going to be a fun group to work with and watch people as they begin to up level.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize that there's a limited number of seats. So folks, if this speaks to you, you better jump on it because it sounds like there's not many of those seats left. I wanted to throw, we had a comment that came in while we were chatting here. Caitlin jumped on and said, how cool. And yes, it is pretty cool. I'm excited for you guys as well because it's right around the corner. And I absolutely love that you have this, listen, there are a lot of great programs out there that people are sharing their expertise with, but I love it even more when people can say, when we finish, you will have in your hands 5 perfect videos. And that is, people can wrap their head around, this is what I'm going to walk away with. I'm going to have these new skills as well, which is important, but I'm actually going to have these 5 assets that I can start to use to enhance and get my message out in front of more people.
Yep. And I just want to clarify, we don't have a maximum of 10 people. I'm hoping for 10 people, but we will take more registrants if we get some.
Yeah. So thank you for the clarification. Is there a limit on the number of folks that you can run in a boot camp?
I would say 20 would be our max, just because of all the back end work that we have to do on the videos and keeping everybody on time and on track. Obviously, there's going to be some accountability worked into this, so students will be responsible for delivering their content to us for refinement. So as long as we have 20 students, we're totally set.
100%. It is not what you know, but what you do with what you know that is actually going to get traction and make things happen in the world. And of course, who you know kind of helps too. And that's one of the reasons why we want to connect folks with people like you, Deborah. So thank you very much. You've shared the URL. I believe, if I did it correctly, that URL to the bootcamp is also in the description for the different channels where we're broadcasting. It was on screen, so if I made a mistake, you can find it there as well. Anything else that they should know about Well World TV before we wrap up here?
Just that we are looking for you. So if you hold that passion and that desire to up level and share your voice, and your vision is big or small, it doesn't really matter. If you feel like you need a little support and resources, reach out. And my email, you can reach out to me directly, is basically what you're seeing here under my name. It's Debra K at wellworld.tv. So you literally can reach out to me directly, and I will respond to you as soon as I can.
Perfect. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to join us today to talk about the boot camp. Excited to hear more and actually see some of these folks come online with their gift and their genius to share with the world. And with that, we'll wrap up for today's episode of Book of Experts TV. And I'm sure you'll be hearing more from Deborah and her boot campers very soon.
Yay! Can't wait to share those videos.